This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, you didn't know? Welcome to the show. I'm the Big Time. This is the Value of Wrestling. This is Big Tyme Rants, episode 84. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. And the drum beats on after Dynamite last night. Now, after Dynamite, I'm sure if you were here last night, you saw our Dynamite post-show review. And then we did a special edition of the weekly roundup last night on Wednesday night, just with the three-man team to give you our thoughts on a lot of the things going down. And here we are again with the never ending. It just seems like Punk knows how to stir up AEW, how it stirs up Tony Khan. And we're back at it again. Tony Khan last night definitely addressed CM Punk. I mean, there was no reason to send Adam Copeland out there for this rah-rah speech. It was addressing, what Punk said. Tony Khan has gotten upset about it, and so he sent Adam Copeland out there. At the end of the show, after Collision was over, Copeland was out there again with FTR. Dax Hardwood made his statement. People were crapping all over him, but his wasn't necessary at the beginning. He didn't feel like a rah-rah speech to save AEW and a response to CM Punk because they're friends, and he even got on Twitter and made that statement very clear, like that's my friend. Why are we harping on this? But again, here we are. We're talking about CM Punk and Tony Khan and the interaction that is going on, and it's truly sad that AEW felt a need to react, or Tony Khan at least felt a need to react. Tony Khan getting lit up on Twitter. He keeps coming out like he did on Dynamite last night, and he tweeted, AEW were the best wrestle. He tweeted this last week. He repeated his tweet, doubled down on it, and people have come out and said, if you have to keep reminding us, it's probably not true. From there, we got, I didn't know the Tribal Chief and the Final Boss signed with AEW, where the stories never make sense, but the Coke is the best. Yes. AEW were the best wrestle, and no one shows up to watch. In front of dozens and dozens of people, no, thousands and thousands. And then we have this one that really goes into AEW, where the best wrestle. Oh, AEW, where we hire rapists and reward them. AEW, where the best come to be forgotten. AEW, where botching is more frequent than a 3 count. AEW, where the owner's a pubescent brat. AEW, where nobody watches. AEW, where we have sissy fights. AEW, not a real business. AEW, 1,000+ empty seats. AEW, where Cope is real. AEW, where our best story is forgotten within a day. Where AEW, where the negativity is remembered for a lifetime. And AEW, home of the most toxic match stations and hair bands of the 80s. These are just all the things Tony Khan just getting lit up. This copium, most of the draw to your show are former WWE stars. Roman Reigns isn't in AEW ticket sales, and there's a video that says nobody gives a. And then we get the Final Boss and the Tribal Chiefs aren't all elite. Saying the box office doesn't know it. The best what? Are you are an indie show on your best days. Syphilis has a larger fan base than you do. What exactly is the best about it? How much you pay for that tagline, whatever you paid, it was too much. We're the best wrestle in front of a half-empty arenas. You meant WWE, yes. I mean, people are just tearing into Tony Khan for coming out here and rehashing the same hashtag he did last week, trying to double down. And here we are. He's getting burnt up. He's getting eaten up alive. So let's have a real talk. Let's do it. Tony, the value of wrestling. We respect what you're trying to do, but you don't. You can buy every big name out there. You can throw all the money out there. You can buy the Ospreys. You can buy the Okadas. You can bring in Mercedes Moné. And unfortunately, with Mercedes Moné, we haven't seen anything except her come out, play her field, and now she's challenging for a TBS title where she hasn't even been in a single match to even be eligible for that, based on the fact that you say rankings are important. You keep switching up your narrative. Rankings are important. Rankings aren't important. Oh, we have Cope Opens. We have open challenges. We have eliminator matches to determine people who get in here. And sometimes the eliminator matches are like, why is this person even in an eliminator match? What did they do to even get in the qualification? Because they're not even in the conversation for an eliminator match. I mean, what is you want? You want to make the rankings appointment, then you sell out the rankings, then you throw out the rankings. Um, like here, the AEW International Championship Eliminator, Roderick Strong versus London Lightning. Who the hell is London Lightning? How does he get an eliminator match? How does he even get to be relevant here? You can't just say, oh, I'm going to call it an eliminator match. I'm going to call it the Battle of the Wills. I'm going to call it a Cope Open. I'm going to just justify my own actions. That's what Tony Khan and you constantly have done wrong. You do it for your fulfillment, your pleasure, and your arenas are showing. Your 2,000, 3,000 people in a venue that's huge. That you should selling these out, and you can sell these out. You've got the talent. Yes, you have some of the best wrestling in the world on your roster. You have Bryan Danielson. You have Kazuchika Okada. You have Kenny Omega. You have Jay White. You have Will Ospreay. The list goes on and on. Moxley has been a great asset in AEW. Even though he's got to bleed a lot. Claudio Castagnoli is one of the greatest there. Eddie Kingston's showing that he has a lot of talent, a lot of things there to offer. You've got Mercedes Moné. You have Shibata, Ibushi. You have these names, but you just don't use them for the balance or to make your product better. You create great matches. Yes, you put together great matches, but those matches aren't going to last forever. They're going to go to an end. There's only so long that you can book every match, put all these people against one another before it's like, okay, we've seen it all, now what? And you don't give us compelling TV to come to the next week. You don't give the fans a reason to come to the arenas and watch the shows there because they know what it is. And here you are sending out Adam Copeland to do a rah-rah speech, to attack, to churn a narrative that CM Punk said on Monday when you had no reason to even acknowledge him. He said, you're not a boss. And then you had to come and go, I am too a boss. I am boss. Watch me be boss. And you look like a fool. And the IWC and the wrestling world's art. Now, there's people out there that are going to be the tribalists, and they're going to be one side or the other, and it is what it is. And if that's your mindset, then I mean, there's not much I can do to do anything for you, and you can go out there. Now, I'm not out here to be a tribalist. I want to see AEW succeed. AEW has some of the best talent, has a roster, has very young talent that deserve this chance to shine and grow and be molded into the future of this company. But it just seems like Tony Khan is so obsessed with being like WCW 2.0 that there's no seeing beyond it. It's just the same thing each and every week. I mean, we got Ospreay out of the gate, and then we went right into a Bryan Danielson, Lance Archer match, and we ended the night with a Swerve Joe contract signing with an overrun that really wasn't anything new. We've seen it in WWE. We've seen the Blood contract signing. We've seen it in AEW. We've seen it in WWE. We've seen it in ECW. We've seen it everywhere. It's a thing. It's been done time and time again. It has been done. And what serves the purpose? Why not let... Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the Young Bucks. Here we call them the Tampon Bucks. There's a whole reason. And I don't know why that upset them so bad to be called the Tampon Bucks. But hey, if they got their panties in a taut, not, it's on them. We're here to, talk about wrestling. We're going to call it what it is. And we're here to have fun. And if we came up with a hashtag slogan and they can't take it, then I don't know what to say about the Young Bucks, but that's neither apparent. But again, the Tampon Bucks could have been in the main event. I wouldn't necessarily been a favorite of that, but I mean, you could have Ospreay and Will Hobbs and the Battle of the Wheels be your main event match. You could have Bryan Danielson and Lance Archer be your main event match. But no, you did a contract signing that really didn't do anything, really didn't add any flavor. Even in the tag team match where the Tampon Bucks were taking on Best Friends, You could have used that because then the overrun could have been leaving, hanging you with Trent Beretta taking out Orange Cassidy, which would leave people interested going, you would have closed the show with Trent Beretta taking out Orange Cassidy and walking out of the ring, and you would have closed the show then, you would have had more people coming back next week. I promise you. They would want to see the fallout. You put it in the middle of the show, people are like, oh, okay. Some people are going to come watch it next week to figure out what's going on. But if you would have put it at the end of the show, I promise you would have garnered more attention. But no, you don't do it. You give us a contract signing where Joe comes out, busts up Swerve. It's cool. Both these talents are great. They're good. They're going to be good in the ring. But it didn't satisfy anything. It didn't really feel like it moved anything. It's just like, okay, let's get to Dynasty so we can see these two. Hopefully, Swerve wins the title, and that's the end of that. But now you got Willow Nightingale going with the TBS champion against Julia Hart. And what you're telling us is Willow's going to take the title from Julia Hart, go to Double or Nothing, and lose the title to Mercedes Moné. Because it would make no sense for Mercedes Moné to come in and act the way she is and be after, have her issue with Willow Nightingale, and then Willow Nightingale not win the TBS championship, and then you're going to push Mercedes Moné against Julia Hart, unless you're going to build the whole feud of Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné feuding to see who's going to get the title shot against Julia Hart, which I think is even stupider. And Mercedes Moné hasn't even had a match to even qualify her into any rankings. So you throw rankings in, throw rankings out. You can't make a decision. And then when somebody says you're not a boss, it's very apparent. You lay the groundwork of where you show you're not a booker, you're not a boss, you don't have any control. It's been reported numerous times you've had wrestlers who are like, I don't want to do that, and they're no. And you don't make them do it. And some of that's probably for the better, because I don't think, if a wrestler can't really get into it or doesn't feel it's going to be in their best interest. But again, where's that fine line where you're the boss? Like, hey, I need you to do this. You need to do this. This is what we need to do for right now. Where's the boss? I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that opened you. And if you wanted Adam Copeland to go out there and support AEW, he should never address the negativity. The minute he said, oh, there's a lot of negativity about AEW going on, we all knew. Everything pointed to Punk and what Punk had to say. Look, Tony, we want to see AEW succeed. I want to see AEW succeed. AEW is better existing than non-existing. But at some point, you're going to run it into the ground because it's going to be booking great matches for 5 stars. Great. But if you don't grow your audience, if you don't grow your base, if you just placate to that fan base that you've already created, and they're diehards and they love you and they're loyalists and they'll bang your drum, wave your flag, and march with you, and that's great. But they're not going to carry you through to forever. That group is not big enough to support AEW at the level it needs to be. You're an indie fed pretending you're a major wrestling federation. You're an indie fed that that has big TV production. You're an indie fed that's trying to break out but can't break out of its mold. Now you can go be AEW, the indie fed that it is, and tell the world this is what we're going to do. We're just going to put on great matches. We're not going to worry about storylines. We're just going to put great matches, and we're not going to do storylines, and we're not going to worry about all this other stuff. We're just going to have the best matches with the best wrestlers, and if they come here, we're going to create the best matches. But you go between storylines, and there's some storylines, but they're not very good. You're not keeping a storyline in pace. Storylines go from from the beginning of a match to the end of the match, if there's anything there. I mean, you've dropped and killed storylines. Look how many times up and down with the House of Black. Let's talk about Wardlow. He was supposed to be something dominant with MJF. That didn't work out. Then you repeated it with Undisputed Era, and Wardlow gets choked out by Joe, and where's Wardlow been? Where is the Undisputed Kingdom? Where is Adam Copeland in his devil mask? Where you started him as the devil. He came in. MJF's gone. He's injured, but you're not carrying anything. I thought the whole purpose of the Undisputed Era was to get the world title. They're not even in the picture. Where is MJF in the bidding war of 2024? Tony, you put stuff out here, you drop it, you kill Eddie Kingston, you give him flowers, you make him the first Continental Champion, you make him a Triple Crown winner. Big ordeal. The very next year, and that's all gone. And now Okada, in his first singles match, wins that title over Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston's fallen to the back. Now he's in line with Adam Copeland for Dynasty as the rated Chicken Kings. Which you shift Eddie Kingston from Okada to teaming up with Mark Briscoe, who should be he's having a match with at Ring of Honor this Saturday. This is the Ring of Honor World Title, but he's not upset that Okada beat him. He hasn't even. Yes, he came out and did a video package after that, but you're just telling me Eddie Kingston's just cool. I lost to Okada, no big O deal. I'm just gonna move on with life. I mean, what about rematches? Why don't we ever get rematch? What about the rematch clause in professional wrestling? It's just you move on. You never stay. It never gets. Orange Cassidy's out of the international title picture. He's teaming up now. Trent Beretta turned on him. Roderick Strong's facing London Lightning at Rampage for an eliminator match. Who's coming after the international title now? The international title is like dead. Orange Cassidy made it one of the popular titles, and now it's on Roderick Strong, and you're not doing anything to push Roderick Strong to Undisputed Kingdom or making them feel important. They're big joke. You insult the fans. Now your hardcore fans are like, oh yeah, we love our 5-star matches. We just want the in-ring work. If you're gonna be an in-ring work, if you're gonna be, the New Japan of America, if this is what AEW is supposed to be, then go be that. Just come out and say that's who you are. That's what we're gonna be. That is our identity. We are not about storylines. We're not about this. We're just gonna put everybody in the ring and let them have a good match. And you'll get your fan base. That fan base will be there. It'll never really amount to much more than the numbers you're getting now. You'll never be big league. You'll never really be a full global corporation like you proclaim. Yes, you can go overseas and have, programs there and people are going to come out and watch it, but you're not going to be on that level of what you think you're on, like you're going to be competing at the level of WWE, because you're not there, because you're not giving us what it is. And no, you don't need to be WWE. Yes, you need to be something different to WWE. You need to give people something that they can go, ooh, what are they doing over here? What is this storyline about? Why are they doing this? You're not dragging interest. People come over, watch who they want, and then leave. And even the tampon box aren't bringing in the ratings, and you know this, Tony. They are not high on even your own fan base. People are just not really interested in their characters right now. Here they go. You're going to have Young Bucks versus FTR for these vacated tag team titles. I guess this is going to be match number 4. You're going to try to pick it up and do this at Dynasty. To sell Dynasty, you're building a good card for Dynasty in some aspects. I mean, you got Swerve Strickland versus Samoa Joe. You're going to have FTR versus the Young Bucks for these tag team titles. Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm for the AEW Women's title. You now have Willow Nightingale versus Julia Hart for the TBS title. And then you got the Rated R Chicken. You got the Rated Chicken Kings versus the House of Black, which nobody really cares about the House of Black because you've never really done anything to make House of Black. You made a lot, made them look like a monstrous group, but have never booked them in a way that makes them go over that way. They just kind of flounder in a lost position. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's CM Punk comes out and tells you you're not a boss. You get upset. You send Adam Copeland out there, and the whole world's coming at you. You keep saying we're the best wrestle. Yeah, you have some of the best wrestlers. You have the best roster probably in professional wrestling right now, and probably one of the best ever. There's no doubt in that aspect, but you don't need to do it just as much as you don't need to come out and tell us, oh, we're going to have a 5-minute overrun. We're going to have a 10-minute overrun. Or TBS let us have an overrun. Hi, why do you need to say that? Why do you feel this necessity to come out and advertise on Twitter, we're having an overrun, we've got extra time? It makes you look stupid. Honestly, Tony, it makes you look stupid. It makes you look ignorant. I hope you're watching. This is a letter to Tony Khan. I mean, let's talk about it. I will give you full time to promote everything you want. I know, well, you don't have a big fan base here, but maybe we can build a fan base. We can build something together. We can get to the serious aspect. Let us get to know you. Let us have that conversation. Let me ask real questions that, I know there's things that you don't want to talk about, and that's fine. But, I mean, let's talk more about why do you feel that Edge, Adam Copeland, needed to go out and make this statement? Do you think it's benefiting? What is your goal? What is your objective with the company? Where do you see AEW in 10 years? And what is it that you want? Do you want great wrestling matches that are 5-star matches? And do you want to be at that level, or do you want to be at the level of WWE? Do you want to change the world of professional wrestling? Do you want to be a fan that's booking great matches that people are going to look like, yes, Tony Khan is the best booker. Tony Khan deserves these things. Or are you just going to be a guy that throws matches? I mean, we're here. And I'd be happy to sit down and talk about these things, not to be mean or vicious or attack you. It's never about that. But it's just like, this doesn't make sense. This is not good for AEW. This is not good for WWE. In the rah rah cheer speeches, it's great, it's wonderful, it sounds pretty on air, but it doesn't do anything. And you can see the fan base is pretty much like puking all over, because it was just like, yeah, that was cringe. It was cringe to send Adam Copeland out there, who's only been here for a cup of tea, only been here since October, to answer some of what CM Punk said, and to rally up the troops. I mean, didn't get Darby, couldn't worry about MJF. I mean, Jericho wouldn't have been great, but I mean, at least he's been there longer and would have felt more impactful. I mean, not a day one person. This is a hot mess, and Punk got the best of AEW this week. Punk got the best of Tony Khan this week, and there was really no reason for it. Punk went on and was honest, and I know the wrestling community like, oh, if you listen to Punk, the venom and the hatred that are coming out, that it's divided the wrestling community even greater. You're either a Punk fan and I'm Punk side, or you're anti-Punk and think he's just telling lies and everything else. I mean, there's people out here saying, oh, CM Punk should be so grateful for Tony Khan because Tony Khan gave him a job when he didn't have a job, because he had been out of the world of professional wrestling for 7 years, which is totally ignorant if you don't do your research. WWE and Punk had talks before he came back to AEW. There was a conversation briefly there. It just didn't pan out. Tony Khan didn't just magically give Punk a job. Tony Khan wanted Punk in the business. They sat down and talked. Punk wanted to come back. Tony Khan didn't just come to Punk and go, I know you're down and out. I know there's nowhere else for you to go, so I will take you in. No. Tony Khan went, hey, you're one of the biggest names in the wrestling business. This would be huge. We can make huge money together. And Punk agreed. They needed each other at that time. It wasn't that Tony Khan just went, I'll give you a job. No. Punk didn't have to come back to wrestling. Punk was doing fine. Punk has always done financially fine. Punk probably should teach financial classes to a lot of people. That's the key. Punk didn't need to come to AEW. He didn't need that job. But Tony Khan wanted him. Punk knew the fans wanted him to come back, and Punk thought this might be the opportunity for him to come back and do something and maybe love the sport again. And he went in and he tried to love it. In the beginning, it was great, but there was a group and a certain people there that didn't really want Punk there, because Punk was drawing the ratings. Punk was bringing in the people. Punk was selling out the buildings. People want to go, oh, Punk was at Wembley, the biggest attendance than ever. You know, AEW did that. A lot of that was based on the names that were on that card, MJF and Punk. What happened after Punk left? Where has the attendance and the tickets and the numbers have gone? Collision was a better show than Dynamite when Punk was there. If you don't look at the ratings in the whole big picture, you're not going to look at the reality of it all. Punk helped AEW. Punk didn't need AEW. Punk came out and made his statements, and Tony Khan turned around and pretty much proved him. Because Tony Khan acted immaturely, acted irrationally, acted on emotion by sending Copeland out there to respond to the negativity, when the only real negativity was out there was what CM Punk said about Tony Khan, AEW, and the little few things that he said. And then the young tampon bucks, the boo-boo heads, the crybabies of professional wrestling, I swear to God, had to come out for their match and go, hey, I see you, scapegoat. Ah! Like, what's the point in that? Like, that serves no purpose except here's Punk again. Punk and Jack Perry and the issue that fell out there. They need to get Punk out of their head. They really do. Punk's not there. Who cares what Punk's doing or what Punk says? Focus on your company. Fix your company. Make your company the best that there is out there. Give us great matches. Give us great storylines. Give us reason to watch. Make us feel excited. If you want to cater to your small niche audience, cool. Go do that. That's fine. And you're going to get the criticism that comes with it. And, you know, if you come out and say that, I probably would stop criticizing. Honestly, I'd probably stop watching Dynamite, because I'd be, okay, that's what Tony Khan wants. There's nothing there for me. I love professional wrestling. I love some of the great matches AEW puts on. I mean, a Will Ospreay, Will Howe match is good. A Bryan Danielson Murder Hawk Monster Lance Archer match. Good match. It doesn't really serve anything. Doesn't help anybody, doesn't advance anybody, doesn't make anybody feel more important. Just kind of happens, and it's good. It's great wrestling, yes. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what's next? Okay, we just go through matches, through matches, through matches, and that well is going to run dry, and that's what we see. At some point, it's like this is all going to come to an end, and you're not really investing me in it anymore. And it's just like if you have Will Ospreay on the card every week, he's going to run dry. People can be the biggest fan of Ospreay, he can be the greatest wrestler in the world, but if you see it every single week, eventually you're like, okay, same stuff, blah. I'm just saying. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Big Time. This is Value Wrestling. I ranted on too long about Tony Khan, CM Punk, this whole ordeal. I can't believe we're still in the midst of this. We're in day 4 of WrestleMania week. Let's get excited about WrestleMania. We're going to be here tomorrow with your SmackDown post-show review. The Hall of Fame is tomorrow. That's going to be awesome. And then it's going to be Saturday. And ladies and gentlemen, WrestleMania is going to kick off, and it's going to be amazing. And so I hope you're all here for that. Make sure you ring the bell for notifications so any new content videos or whenever we go live come up, you'll be there. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join the Value Wrestling family because we got a lot of content, a lot of things going on this week. And we're marching to 1,000. Once we hit that 1,000 mark, we got a lot of great things. We're going to do a giveaway. If we hit that 1,000 mark, make sure you're here for that. To say, I thank you for bringing here. Drop your comments below. Tell me what you think about it. You can disagree with me all you want, and that's perfectly fine. We just ask you to be respectful because everybody's allowed to their opinion. Just because we don't agree doesn't mean we don't love wrestling. You don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you. Still means we can get along. We can have that civil conversation. A difference of opinion is perfectly fine. So drop your comments below. Share your thoughts. I'll be back on the next one. If not, we'll see you tomorrow with your SmackDown post-show review. I'm going to get out of here. So catch you on the next one.